everyone. I'm G-Man, and that there is T-Money, and welcome to the February 22nd Father, Son, and Holy Sport weekly podcast. You won't believe it. The NFL Scouting Combine begins next week, and then on March 16, the week March Madness starts, free agency begins in the NFL as we officially kick off the 2022 NFL League. Which teams will be aggressive this spring, re-signing or getting top players in the market? Which teams will go after the draft instead? We're going to see. T-Money getting you ready for the NFL season, man, coming back at us.
Yeah, man, excited. Back here in the office out in SF, ready for the offseason to get going, and excited to talk some offseason awards here.
Yeah, you brought your Bengals back from the Cloffice to the Super Bowl. Who will you do this year? It was amazing. Hey, y'all, do us a favor, press the like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. I'm G-Man. I got T-Money here with me, bringing you football energy with the February 22nd edition of the NFL Rundown. It's a special segment of the Father, Son, and Holy Sport weekly podcast brought to you by our friends at Woundwise IQ. Hey, all right, T, let's jump into this NFL Rundown, NFL news. Hey, what do you think about some of the awards that were going on? Looking at the first award, looking at regular season MVP, Aaron Rodgers. What do you think, man? Was that the right choice?
Oh, man. This is a weird one for me because I'm sick of this MVP award just automatically being a quarterback award. I'm over it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's really annoying. It's the same QBs every year. Like Aaron Rodgers, like I didn't want to give it to him because he had it the year before, didn't do anything. Brady's had it how many times? And like everyone's throwing for thousands of yards and 30 touchdowns. It's just not exciting anymore for me. Like the MVP is not exciting. To me personally, if I had to give it to someone, I actually would have given it to Jonathan Taylor. I thought when he ran for over 100 yards, his team only lost one game. And that was his team was so reliant on him. But the problem was Derrick Henry had such a prolific year last season that there's no way they could give it to Jonathan Taylor this season because he didn't even touch Derrick Henry's stats from the previous year. But yeah. I'm just so done with the quarterback award. I guess Aaron Rodgers should have gotten it because of how valuable he was to his team. You know, his team lost 3 games. He wasn't in one of those losses. But other than that, it's just kind of a dud of an award now. It's a quarterback award. It's no fun. It has nothing to do. I get the quarterback's the most valuable player, but I'm sick of it being called MVP. Can we just call it best quarterback?
Yeah. And I like your passion for Jonathan Taylor, man. Love that. But no, man, it should have been Cooper Kupp. You know, it should have been Cooper Kupp. I mean, when you talk about guys that have had seasons that were some of the best in the history of the NFL, you think about that over all that time from the 60s all the way up through now, man, all of that time. And here's a guy that had one of the best seasons of any wide receiver in the history of the NFL. That was the guy that should have got it, man. He was the 4th wideout since the NFL was formed to lead in the triple crown of receivings, reception, receiving yards, and touchdown catches. He led them all. No. Think about that, man. This guy's unbelievable. He was the only player other than Joe Montana to win the Associated Press Offensive Player of the Year and the Super Bowl MVP. This guy nailed it this year. I know it was a regular season award, but he showed in the playoffs how much that team depends on him and how valuable he is. Cooper Kupp, man, he was the guy.
Hey, honestly, you convinced me. I'll take anyone. I like Cooper Kupp too. He had a prolific season. Like I said, when you have one of the best ever at your position, you should be the MVP. You could tell me TJ Watt because he tied the all-time sacks record. Pittsburgh's offense was atrocious. That defense was elite, kept him in games. I mean, I'm just sick of it being a quarterback award. And I think that's my biggest grudge with Aaron Rodgers winning another one after doing another bad postseason. I'm sick of these guys getting MVPs just because they're quarterbacks. When guys like Jonathan Taylor have an excellent season, Cooper Kupp has an all-time season, and TJ Watt ties the best sack record in the NFL in history, and they don't even sniff The top three.
Add some integrity to this award. Would you, NFL? Come on, man. Doesn't have to be a quarterback.
I agree with you. Last thing I'll say on this too, the NFL does it wrong. Unlike the NBA, there's no 1, 2, 3. You don't get extra points for voting on second and third. It's all only one vote for each media person. So that's it. You can't slot people based on if you got a second place vote or a third place vote. So I think there's a lot that needs to be changed about the voting process there to help get some of these other guys in there. Just
that's a good point.
A suggestion.
That's a good point.
Let's move on to your guy who you thought you should have won the MVP, Cooper Kupp, Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
What do you think? Should it have been Cooper Kupp for the Offensive Player of the Year award?
Well, if Coop would have won the overall MVP, my offensive MVP, you're going to love, would have been Debo. Debo carried the offense for the 49ers and arguably the whole team. That's the guy that should have got it. That guy's got 77 catches for 1,400 yards, receiving 18 yards per catch. Check that out. 18 yards a catch. And on the ground, carried the ball 60 times for 365 yards and 8 touchdowns. Dual threat, unstoppable. Nobody could stop the guy. He was one of the key reasons they went to so far in the playoffs.
No, I actually, once again, I agree with you that
Debo
should have been the offense. I know you've been doing great. Now, yes, Cooper Kupp should have won Offensive Player of the Year. Let's both say we agree with that. But I actually totally agree. Debo Samuel, next best guy. If you want to argue Jonathan Taylor with me, I could see that. But there was in the beginning of the season, he was a bit of a no-show. So I'll take Debo Samuel. I think you're totally right there. He just became the whole offense for the Niners, and Kittle was out for such a long time as well. I think he was such a vital part.
Yeah. Hey, let me switch to defense here. Let's look at the defense. TJ Watt gets that Defensive Player of the Year award. What do you think, man? Was that the right pick?
I think it had to be. I think it had to be the right pick.
I didn't know if you go with your man Aaron Donald. I didn't know.
Let me just preface this first, okay? So let me just start with this. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in the NFL. Okay.
But you don't think he's Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year has got to go to the guy that ties the all-time sack record.
Yeah.
Right? You can't not give it to the guy. Aaron Donald had a great year. He had 12 and a half sacks. You know, he was all over it. He's getting triple teamed every freaking play. It's unbelievable. You know, so I'm giving it to Aaron Donald as best player on defense in the NFL, maybe the best player in the NFL. You want to talk about MVP, that guy means a lot to his team. But TJ Watt deserves this thing. Not even close. He actually missed games. So did it in less than they had 17 this year.
15 games.
They did it. They did 17 games this year. The 22 and a half sack record that used to be the record was done in 16 games. He did it in 15. So just imagine if, everyone's complaining about the new stats being piled up because of the extra game. He did it in one less game. So give the guy all the credit in the world. TJ Watt running away with this year's Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I agree. Last year, the year before, he ends up runner up to Aaron Donald and had 15 sacks. This year, he leaves no doubt 22 and a half sacks and ties the all-time record. You know, the other interesting thing on TJ Watt, do you think about greatness? The Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, think about how great the players are on that team. I know they've fallen off as a team, but still, when you look at this, that guy's won 3 straight Pittsburgh Steeler MVPs. No one's ever done that at the Steelers. How many teams can any player say they've done that? 3 years in a row, the MVP of a team that made the playoffs. I mean, that's pretty good stuff right there from TJ Watt.
No, for sure. And that's what I'm saying. That guy should have been in talks for the NFL MVP. And the fact that it wasn't even a mention when he sets the all-time sack record just goes to show the MVP awards a sham just for quarterbacks. But totally agree. TJ Watt totally deserved this thing. Great year from him. But let's move on to these rookies. All right. Your boy, Jamar Chase, and, my Bengal boy, Jamar Chase. I know you love him too. Run Offensive Rookie of the Year here. Right, wrong? Who do you got as another option? What do you think here?
Absolutely right. This guy set all-time NFL rookie records. I mean, how many people can say that? He
Yeah.
broke the rookie record, 1,400 receiving yards, 1,455 in a single season. And week 17, when they really needed him, and this is one thing I love about Chase. This guy came through in the clutch. You can talk about him dropping passes, all that stuff, but when they needed him this year, the guy came up with big plays and he did it in week 17 against Kansas City. The most receiving yards by a player in a single game in franchise history. The most receiving yards ever in a game by a rookie, 266 against Kansas City in week 17 when they needed him. The guy was clutch.
No, totally agree. You took the words right out of my mouth. I had the same stats pulled up. He had the most rookie receiving yards. He had more yards combined in his first season than Davante Adams had in his first 2 seasons combined. So let's just put that in perspective. Davante Adams, probably the best receiver in the league right now. Ja'Marr Chase already surpassed Davante Adams' first 2 seasons in the league after 1 season. Like you said, he put up the all-time game versus the Chiefs, 266 yards and 11 catches, just unbelievable, unstoppable. And then same thing in the Chiefs playoff game too. Who do they go when they see one-on-one every time? Corner touchdown, you know it already is Ja'Marr Chase.
They can't stop him.
They can't stop this guy. He's an unbelievable talent. And not only did he just smash rookie records, he might be a top 5 wide receiver already in the game. This guy undoubtedly deserved Offensive Rookie of the Year.
How about this too? One, we didn't mention this stat. More receiving yards over his first 7 games than any player in NFL history. I mean, that's unbelievable.
And people thought this guy was going to be a bust after he said the footballs happened to be bigger. I mean, it's just ridiculous to even listen to the stuff that comes out of these people's mouths. Unbelievable year from just an unbelievable talent, and looking forward to him playing in the Bengals jersey for a long time.
Top 5 receiving yards in the NFL this past year. Cooper Kupp first, 1947. Justin Jefferson second. Davante Adams third. Chase was fourth. Deebo Samuel fifth at 1,400. That was your top 5 receivers.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Hey, let's switch over to the defensive rookie of the year. Your man, I know you love Micah Parsons, man. I know you're going to tell me that was definitely the right pick.
Oh, man. I loved Trayvon Diggs. He had a great year. He might be a second year if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize. But the best player, was Micah Parsons. And I don't even think it was close, really. Just an unbelievable year from this guy. 13 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles. And this guy wasn't even really the main starter until Lawrence or Gregory went down in the middle of the season for the Cowboys. He was kind of a backup linebacker. He ends the year with a 93 pass rush grade, 22% pass rush rate, and a 24 pass rush win rate. All top 5 in the NFL. That's not rookies. That's the NFL. This guy is legit. He barely scratched the surface of who he could be. He was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, not rookie, all Defensive Player of the Year. This guy is an elite talent. He can play linebacker. He can play edge. He can play inside. He can play outside. He is just a phenom football player. Excited to see this guy grow, but 100% he should have won this award. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with everything you said. And, he didn't have all the big stats compared to some of the other positions because he was playing so many different positions.
Yeah.
He didn't rush. Sometimes he drops back. He can cover people deep on the pass too. So he was dropping back in pass protection sometimes. So that's why he didn't rack up some of the stats. Maybe just if he just played edge rusher. But he ended up, the Dallas had the number 10 selection in the draft. They drop back to 13 and they get Parsons, the number 13 overall. So great move by Dallas getting them, picking them up.
Yeah, no, phenomenal move. I mean, I will give Jerry Jones credit for he's made some bad coaching hires, but man, has that group drafted well recently. Dak Prescott, You got CD Lamb, you got Micah Parsons, you got Trayvon Diggs. I mean, they're just doing great job. Zeke in his first few years was phenomenal. I mean, they've just been great at drafting all their offensive linemen, but Micah Parsons is going to be potentially on a Hall of Fame track after just his rookie year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's go to the last award of the season that we had. Coach of the Year. Mike Vrabel wins it. What do you think? There was a lot of other coaches in the running here. You had the Bengals head coach. You had Matt LaFleur with the Packers, who had the best record. What are your thoughts on Vrabel winning this thing? Was it the right choice?
Heck no, it was not the right choice. He was not the right pick. Not even close. The winner should have been, and we all know it, Cincinnati Zach Taylor. Come on, man. Yeah, I got to look at where this team was, this losing record. And this was his third year, and he comes through and takes them to the Super Bowl. You got to give a guy some time. He did it. He was almost fired. I remember you and I talking on this show early in the year and late last year. Should he be fired? He was on our list of like one of the worst performers. And this guy goes to the Super Bowl. Okay, so, Mike Vrabel, great job, but not super job. This Taylor move, what he did with his team this year, he deserves it, man. We're looking at this 1 year. His main competition, in my opinion, was Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, to me, would have been the other guy. I just think that he had to take a team. Shanahan did with all the injuries, come back. He beat the Rams in week 18. He got into the playoffs, and they did a great job in the playoffs. They did well. And he was piecing that team together. Debo really helped him. And so Kyle would have been my second choice. But I think Zach Taylor turned the Bengals around. They've gone to one of the favorites in the AFC now. He's going to come out maybe the favorite. He dealt with Burrow's injury. He didn't lose it. Burrow comes back. And with healthy Burrow, along with Taylor, it takes leadership too, T. It's not just Burrow. It takes leadership along with Burrow and that coaching staff to do it also.
I disagree. I don't think Zach Taylor's a good coach, and I think that showed in the voting. I just think he is an all-time quarterback. I think Mike Vrabel should have won this thing, and I'm glad he did. Name a team that's going to lose their best player and be the 1 seed. I mean, that's unbelievable, the coaching job he did. The defensive turnaround that he had this year, they were one of the worst pass defenses in the league, and then they turned into a pretty formidable defense this year and an awesome defensive front, sacking Joe Burrow 9 times in the playoffs.
Unbelievable job. I wouldn't call Vrabel's unbelievable job.
And then Ryan Tannehill, who no one loves, everyone thinks is fine, but to lose Derrick Henry and still beat the Chiefs and get the 1 seed in a conference without your best player is unbelievable. It's unbelievable coaching job that he did, and had a better record than he did when he had Derrick Henry the year before. He was a number 1 seed in a conference without his best player. Mike Vrabel should have won this thing.
You want to look at lost players. Kyle Shanahan lost a lot more than Vrabel lost. I mean, I would say if you want to go by injuries, Kyle Shanahan got further than Vrabel with the injuries he endured.
Yeah, but this is a regular season award, 1, okay? And they barely snuck in the playoffs. And 2, they didn't lose their best player. Maybe George Kittle's their best player.
Hey, man, I didn't have a problem with Deontay Foreman. They should have given Deontay Foreman the ball, man. That guy can run the rock. Give Deontay the rock. And let
That's
him
great,
run.
but he was cut from like 5 other teams before
That guy
this. It's
can
not like
run
he's
the
some
ball.
amazing elite player. It was just saying it. Mike Vrabel deserved this thing.
Vrabel, you and I talked about these Titans before the playoffs started. Are they for real? Neither of us believed it. We knew they were going to fall in the playoffs, and they did. They do this every year. They just don't deliver when the clutch happens. And Zach Taylor delivered. He with Burrow brought this team through a winning season, won the division, the term's first playoff wins ever. They almost won the Super Bowl. 1 drive away.
It's a regular season award, Gary. I got to keep you focused here. And I'm not letting you get away. Coaching matters more in the regular season, I believe, whereas the postseason is more who has the best players. I personally believe that, where your best players outshine schemes and coaching. And that's why none of us trust Ryan Tannehill in a clutch spot. But Mike Vrabel won more games than Patrick Mahomes. He won more games than Joe Burrow. Mike Vrabel did that without Derrick Henry, without A.J. Brown for most of the season, and with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Pretty damn impressive.
Hey, wait, you fans out there, you write to us. You tell us what you think, man. You tell us what you think. Coach of the year, who should have got it, man? You with T-Money, you with G-Man. Hey, we hope you're loving the NFL Rundown. It's a special segment brought to you by the Father, Son, and Holy Sport Podcast Network. If you're interested in being a guest on the NFL Rundown segment, reach out to us. This show is sponsored by Woundwise IQ. Hey, if you love the show like we love you, press the like and subscribe and look for some of our other shows and podcasts out there where you play your podcasts, and check out our website. You can buy merchandise, Father, Son, and Holy Sport.com. T-Money, get ready for the combines next week, baby.
All right. Can't wait. See ya. All right. Let's do it. Randy's ready, I'm sure.
Hey, I'm G-Man here with T-Money. That's T-Money right there, bringing you sports energy with the February 22nd edition of the Chug and Chant special segment of the Father, Son, and Holy Sport Podcast Network. Hey, y'all, do us a favor. Press that like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. Okay, let's get to Cousin Randy. He's up on the rooftop, way up on the San Francisco skyline. It's time for Cousin Randy's Chug and Chant.
Hey, welcome into this week's Chug and Chant. I'm your cousin Randy out here on the beautiful San Francisco rooftop, and I got a chug for you today, baby, and it's coming for the cheeseheads. Watch out now. Let's chug. Woo! All right, Packer Nation, you better get your boy AROD. Aaron, what are you doing, man? Don't get too cocky and caught up in your own ego that you can't see that you need these Packers, man. What are you going to go play in Denver where you got to go up against Derek Carr and Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert every year? What are you going to go play for Pittsburgh? We got to go up against Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and the Browns roster. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go, man? This is no joke. You're in a great division. Who knows what the Vikings are going to be? Chicago's not good, and Detroit's even worse. What are you going to do here? Don't get cocky thinking that you can go win in one of these other divisions in the other conference with all these young studs. You ain't that. AROD, you got stuff to prove, and the easiest path back to it is through the Packers. Don't get cocky. You better stay with these Packers. Don't get scared and retire because you're sick of everyone calling you out. And even though you won an MVP and don't do anything with it 2 years in a row, you better take advantage here and do something with these Packers. G-Man, T-Money, what do you think?
Oh, Cousin Randy, bringing it, man. T-Money, I tell you, don't get cocky. Little shout out there to Aaron Rodgers, not to get cocky. You know, I really feel the same kind of thing about Aaron Rodgers, T-Money, that he just kind of has this mellow, laid back, kind of soft mood that I think Cousin Randy was alluding to, kind of soft lately. I think he's really trying to show the softer side of himself. You know why, T-Money? Because he's trying to win the Packer crowd over, man. He wants them to love him until the end of time when he walks away, because he's not staying.
Oh, really? So you think he's leaving? He's trying to soften the blow. Trying to soften the blow.
Not just soften the blow, but kind of say, hey, man, I'm the greatest ever. You know I'm the greatest ever, and I love you guys. And if I leave, it's because your owners let me leave.
All right. Well, I don't know. Randy's probably right. He probably should stay. I think it'd be great for football if he left, though. Some storylines, makes it a little more juicy. But, man, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him if he goes somewhere else to prove, hey, I need a better team than went 13-3, 13-3, 13-3, some AFC championship games and all this nonsense, or NFC championship games. Sorry. If he leaves, the pressure's on. You better win a freaking Super Bowl and no more this back and forth flip-flopping. Am I going to retire? Am I not? You got to be committed for years and years. You're going to play till you're 40. You're going to play till you're 42. You have the talent to. Enough of this soft attitude. Like, you better make some decisions and stand by them and get ready for the pressure, because no one's giving you MVPs for electric regular seasons anymore. You're not getting those.
Don't believe all this stuff, man. It's all politics. That we talked about this last year, man. They haven't, this bridge, this whole political, and we're all friends again bridge. I don't buy any of that, man. It's all about money. Okay. If the Packers want to keep him, Rodgers sitting back saying, hey, man, shell out me. Give me that big signing bonus. He wants the biggest signing bonus ever, bigger than Dak. Dak has the biggest one ever. He wants a $75 million signing bonus to stay with that team. He's not going to get it. He's not going to get what he wants, and he's going to throw it back on the owners and say, hey, man, see you fans? I wanted to stay, and they didn't want to give it to me. He's sitting back, man, playing it because you know what? What's the worst thing that could happen to the Packers if he retires? And he knows that. And if he walks away, the Packers get nothing. They can't trade him. What they want to do is trade him and get all those young players in return. And if he retires, they got nothing.
Totally agree. Going to be so interesting to see. He should be announcing in the next few weeks, supposedly before the franchise tag deadline starts, which is March 8th. So he said it's coming quick this year, unlike last year.
Hey, here's my advice to Aaron Rodgers, man. If you got the passion, if you got the energy, go to Denver. Get that out of there, man. You can't do it with Green Bay. You guys have already shown you don't have the guns to pull this off. If you got the energy, man, take Devontae with you. Go to Denver. You got a great team there. And go put your energy in it for 4 years, man. Put 4 years in of energy, and you can get a title there.
Okay. I like it.
Hey, man, we hope you're loving the Chug and Chat this week. Special segment brought to you by Father, Son, and Holy Sport Podcast Network. If you're interested in being a sponsor of the Chug and Chat or a guest chugger with Cousin Randy, hey, man, you can do it. And if you love the show like we love you, press the like and subscribe. You can find all our shows where you watch your podcasts, and you can check out our stuff, our merchandise, our shows. You listen to us, play our podcast, Father, Son, and Holy Sport.com. On behalf of Team Money, I'm G-Man. We'll see you next week.
See ya. Peace.